This is PAMCast for June 16th, 2026. This is intended for TechIDManager partners and people that use the product so that you can know what happened in the last month, what's happening in the upcoming month, the general state of the company, and how things are doing. If you are unfamiliar with what TechIDManager is, this is probably not for you. You should go do a demo of TechIDManager. In a couple Thursdays, there'll be a live demo where we'll go over the product. But if you know what TechIDManager is and use it or like it, hopefully both, then this is for you. That's where we are doing. So glad you're here. Let's get our agenda on the screen and we'll begin and talk about it. Actually, no. Before we put the agenda up on the screen, there has been a very relevant thread on Reddit in the r/MSP section talking about a particular vendor and how they internally maintain access to MSP tenants and MSP client tenants. There's some accusations being thrown around. There's some defense being given. It's not contentious, but it seems like there's a wink, wink, nod, nod of a person that says this is being done incorrectly, but the company says it's being done correctly. You as an MSP should be aware of how access is granted, where the keys for that are stored, and how much control vendors have over your architecture, over your infrastructure, over your client's infrastructure, how much access they could get, how much a bad actor at one of your vendors could harm you or your partners. Sometimes you just have to accept that access. Sometimes you have to accept that bad stuff. Sometimes you pass that off with an audit. Sometimes you pass it off with insurance. But it's something that you should look at and know. And there's a pretty good thread on Reddit that talks about that right now. Go check it out if you want. We like looking at Reddit. We post there a bunch. All right. Now that that's out of the way, let's get to the agenda. This is our agenda for June 16th, 2026. I have been putting pretty cool pictures in the background behind me, but I was honestly rushed today and didn't have an idea of what to put back there. It's not spring, it's not fall, it's summer, there's nothing really big that's happened. So I took a bunch of the logos from TechIDManager and just threw them back there to give it some color. The TechID logo, the TechID, the Stop Sharing Admins account, stop sign, a square version of our logo, which I like, our original RS logo for Ruffian software, and then our top logo at the top, which is our standard logo that if you use the product, you've seen it. So what have we been up to? We continue to make progress on the SOC 2 audit. We got the SOC 2 draft report, read over that, made comments on it yesterday and sent that back. So we're 3 or 4 days from getting the final report or secondary comments, and then we'll be another 3 or 4 days past that for getting our first SOC 2 Type 1 report. Anybody that's interested in that, you can email support@techidmanager.com and we will make sure that the NDAs and stuff are in place and we'll send that to you as soon as we get it. I know that quite a few of you partners have asked for it. We've gone through this. We're getting there. It's been a lot of back and forth, a lot of, hey, you say this, show me this. Hey, prove you do this. You say you do this, prove you do it. It's a whole bunch of things we've done. It's a whole bunch of proof we've shown, lots of screenshots, lots of things. It's more than I thought it would be. It's also a different than I thought it would be. It's not so much about the product as about the organization, which was a big distinguisher that I really had to get over in the beginning. Anyway, getting sidetracked on the SOC 2 audit and the details therein. The next big thing that happened in the past month is we hired a new developer. I went through and posted a job on LinkedIn and a bunch of other places, and the job market is an interesting mess. It is almost as hot a mess as the dating market, and they are just like, there are a lot of parallels in them. I love seeing what's going on and how society and technology are affecting the job market. The number of applications, the AI applications that I saw, like one person sent me a digital twin to interview, which was a most interesting endeavor. There were some rude people trying to get jobs. There were some nice people. There's some people I talked to that I just couldn't understand. There's some very eloquent people, some people that were clearly looking for any job that they could get, even though they didn't align with what this job was looking for offering. What we ended up hiring, brand new kid, straight out of college. And I call him kid because he's literally half my age, which I just find the most interesting thing ever. I see a lot of just the ideology, the not naive, not ideology, ooh, yeah, do everything perfect. Huge design for like a tiny task, but like, it's really interesting. So we should be able to put more features out in the next couple months. He's first job out of college. He's doing very good. He has definitely caught on. We'll be highlighting some of the stuff that he does in future PAMcasts. Yeah. The next thing is the polish on TechID Elevate. And this is right after new developer, because the new developer is actually doing some of that polish on TechID Elevate. He is doing some of the branding work that will come out. It'd be really cool. We are sending that through internal testing. It's been through 2 or 3 rounds of internal testing. We found improvements that we need to make, found some issues. We've adjusted things. We've changed. It is pretty cool. And I think that it's going to be an excellent addition to the TechIDManager product offering. From a business perspective, it will also give you something to resell to your clients if you want simple UAC management, simple removing admin from the local users and putting that in the hands of MSP technicians for both instantaneous response. It's really cool. That's what we've a lot of what we've been up to this month has been that, the polish, the getting the documentation in place, getting all the command line arguments right, getting the interface on the portal correct. All that's been worked on. But it's not come out yet for anybody to use, except for internally, where we're using it pretty heavily. So that's kind of what we've been up to. It's been busy, but it doesn't come out to a lot of line items. So that's what we've been up to. New features. There have been 2 Entra ID releases this past month. There was a release 6.614, which did, I believe I have it here. Yeah. Which fixed some bugs related to delayed account enabling and the occasional incorrect password on Entra ID accounts. This, from a technical perspective, came down to a timing condition where Entra ID will say it has updated an account, but it won't really have updated the account. And then it will give you, later will give you a concurrency error on the account being updated when there's nothing different the way it's been updated. So we've added mitigations for this and some additional code in there. This exhibited itself as just-in-time accounts in Entra ID not enabling, or not enabling in a timely manner. If you had an Entra ID account that takes more than 60 seconds to enable, with any version before 6.614, that is probably what was happening. Is like a 1 in 10,000 or 1 in 30,000 occurrence where we would tell Entra ID via the Graph API to set a credential for a technician, and it would fail. We would try again, and it would fail. We found a workaround that we can, it's the simplest workaround, but we found a workaround that makes sure it does get set, and then it works. And we have not seen any of these issues in any of our testing since we were able to successfully reproduce it. So 6.614 for Entra ID base is something you should update to for all of your Entra ID installations of the TechID agent. If you have any questions, you want us to go through it with you, schedule a meeting on the support tab in TechIDManager.com. You can schedule a support meeting. We'll go through it with you. Happy to do that. Oh, and 6.626 was also released for TechID Agent. The Azure CLI is the underlying technology used only for the deployment of the base install and for updating the base install. Version 2.87.0 of the Azure CLI breaks several of those Azure functions so that it broke the 𝗕𝗏𝐼D base installation and broke the base, just the installation. The upgrade would give you an error, but it still worked. The installation doesn't work. 6.626 changes some of those Azure CLI calls into graph REST calls. That makes the PowerShell script a little more complicated, but it fixed that issue. Hopefully, with version 2.88 of Azure CLI, they'll fix that and we can go back to using the Azure CLI instead of the REST calls directly from PowerShell. It's just a cleaner way to do it. More readable, more understandable what's really going on. There are several, if you look at the release notes for 6.626, you will see a link to the Azure CLI bug report about the same issue that we ran into, that one of our partners ran into, and they were going to upgrade the 𝗕𝗏𝐼D installation to 6.614. Yeah. Their next TechID client for Windows 6.6528 was released. If you're on any of the 6.400 or newer releases, it will simply automatically update as technicians use them. There's a ratio which it updates. This is mainly for large numbers of entries in the Manage portal, in the Manage tab. With large number of entries, there's a possible race condition if one of the entries updated while you were doing a refresh. That should be fixed. TechID Host and TechID Portal, a small release was done there. There were some edge cases where technicians who were co-managed technicians or lesser access technicians could be shown more entries in the tree on the left. The number of leaves they would see would be more than they should. There were no credentials shown them they shouldn't see, but it was just the number of leaves. They were seeing too many leaves. And it was an edge case where they had access at one point, but then access was removed and the account was gone. They couldn't see the account, but the leaf they still showed. That's been addressed, updated. A very minor update. Any of the self-hosted partners might recognize that you didn't get that. We are still honing that process of automating the pushing out of the TechID Host and TechID Portal. There is a big release for TechID Portal and TechID Host coming with the release of TechID Elevate, and you'll definitely get that one. Okay, so from a technical release perspective this month, it was really just those three small releases we did. 𝗕𝗏𝐼D for the password rotation and just-in-time enabling issue, TechID client for large number of passwords and a race condition that caused a crash on the TechID client, and the TechID Host, too many leaves being shown to some users on edge cases. Really, we've been just polishing TechID Elevate in the background and dealing with hiring and the SOC 2 audit. That has sucked up a lot of our time. So for next time, TechID login. I know this was promised last time. We had some personnel rollover and the new developer get hired. They're gonna be working on this task pretty soon. This is 𝗕𝗏𝐼D joined or Intune joined machines can't use TechID login. We're gonna fix that so they can. It's really interesting from the internal perspective of the credential manager, what does and doesn't work and how the other user tile works and doesn't work. And this is one of those, just to like quick side tangent here. This is one of the development projects that I and some other developers have really noticed. Claude and 𝗫𝗎𝗫 and a few other AI code generation code tools have some excellent ability to do GUIs, UI, Razor stuff, C#, just general language and some algorithmic stuff, but only because it's copying examples that are already out there. This TechID login is something there's no example for. It's something that has to be reasoned about, something you have to read the documentation to figure out, and AI just failed miserably at that task. To wrap that in a little more detail from a company perspective, if you as a developer are not using AI, you are truly missing out on a great tool. If you as a developer are using AI solely to your development and just copy pasting or agentic development, you are probably over relying on the tool at this point, is our internal opinion. AI has a phenomenal place where it can give you examples and do a bunch of boilerplate code, and you can take that and read and understand it, make the changes needed, and fit it into your code base. Does phenomenal things. The agentic AI that we have tried has been a miserable failure, and it all has to fit in a realm of well-known problem solving. AI does great at solving well-known problems. AI does not do great at solving unknown problems or problems with significant examples already existing in the marketplace. All right. We'll also do the release for TechID Elevate. We were hoping to get that in this month, but the polish and the testing and the amount of time that a new developer and SOC 2 audit have taken have really pushed that out. So it's not available this time. The SOC 2 audit should be done. I mean, we are like 3 or 4 days from having that report. We've seen the preliminary. It's just a matter of like that final wrapping up that needs to happen. Oh, for next time. Also, which didn't make it on this list, Entra ID for GCC and 𝗂𝗁𝗁𝗁 High has been working for a long time, but you had to make a choice between having a GCC base installation or a commercial base installation. We have completed all the work, and it's in testing right now to do both GCC and commercial Entra ID base installs in the same TechIDManager tenant. So you'll see, instead of one base install in the TechID portal and the client options, you'll see 2 base installs, one for commercial, one for GCC. This has been requested by quite a few people. CMMC and CMMC level 2 are becoming much more of something we're being asked about. And we have quite a few partners that are CMMC level 2 with TechIDManager. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. And there's a newsletter. If you want to sign up for the newsletter, there you go, techidmanager.com/newsletter, sign up. And as these releases, as important releases happen, we don't flood your email box with every minor release. We don't flood your email box with dumb stuff. Big announcements, important things. When PAMCast happens, and a few other things like major releases, big information. We do send out newsletters about, but if you sign up for a newsletter, you're not going to get email every day from us. That's just not who we are. All right. So that's PAMCast for today. We have some big stuff coming. We're excited. We're doing a lot of stuff done in the background, but there's really a small technical release section for this month. Next month, be much bigger. We'll have a lot of stuff to talk about with the GCC and TechID Elevate and a few other interesting features in there related to branding and whatnot and process. SOC 2 audits, and we're like, throw our little SOC 2 logo with our brand up there, and it's going to be super cool. That's what's going to be in the background next time. All right. So that was PAMCast for June 16th, 2026. Glad to have you all here. If you have any questions, as always, support@techidmanager.com. And we look forward to helping you solve all your privilege account management and elevation needs. Have a great day, and we'll see you all around.